Welcome to our FAULHABER Drive Time. In the videos of this sequence, I explained the general concept of how to use the discrete inputs to control the movement of the motor. And we had examples for either speed control or position control using the analog inputs. It could have also been for torque control or for voltage mode. What I now want to add is a small example of how to use the built-in scripting capabilities of these motion controllers to generate this fully standalone demo here. The configuration for the two inputs is still in place and will be used here. But let's switch to the live view of the Motion Manager and do this. Coding is done from the editor component of the Motion Manager, that's here on the right side. And I'll start with a new file that's up here, and there's a few templates. There would be one template for the second generation of our motion controllers, and there's one template for a Visual Basic script. These Visual Basic scripts are actually executed by the Motion Manager, so this is like when you do the interaction, but then automated one. And here is the one for the third generation of motion controllers, and that's what we're going to use here. That's a basic file, and this simple basic environment supports including library files. Two of them are already present here. One is a motion parameters file. That's kind of an include file which assigns symbolic names to the parameter numbers, so the object numbers these drives are using. And the second one is a file which offers shortcuts for simple access of some of these parameters. Well, I usually prefer real code over the macros here. So what I use is a third one, that's MotionFunctions.bi for basic include file. And I prepared an example file here, which already has them in here. And the important information is these two files, the motion functions and this third library file, the MotionControl, have to be stored in the same directory where I want to store this basic file to. So I prepared a directory where these two include files and my basic script file are saved together. The motion functions is coming with the Motion Manager in the examples directory. The MotionControl will be uploaded to our support page. Otherwise, contact our MC support team. They will help you out. The MotionControl is a library that we created out of convenience to not have to deal with the bitwise logic when we want to evaluate digital inputs or set digital outputs. And so that's what we want to use here. So this one is a convenient one. In the script, I first want to enable the driver, and that's a command here out of the motion functions library. And then in an endless loop, so this is the do loop statement here, I want to check the first digital input, so that's here, is input 1. Then I would set the modes of operation parameter to the position control, otherwise I'll set it to the velocity control. The symbolic names here are out of the motion parameters file, and if you want to check what's in the motion parameters, simply click on the line, use the context menu, and when we open up, we see that's the typical structure of an include file, having all these defined statements where a symbolic name is assigned to a number. And so scroll a little down, and here is the modes of operation that's assigned to the actual object number of the modes of operation. And the operating modes are also predefined here, so the lines are simple, easy. Set the object, here the modes of operation, to a specific number for either position control or velocity control. And so we could already use that one here, but I want to add a second input to switch between enabled and disabled state. So I add some code here to first check whether the second input is active, and only if this one is active, I enable the drive, and only when the drive is enabled, of course, I need to check whether to use position control or speed control. Okay. And alternatively, if this second input is not active, well, let's disable the drive. Enable and disable are functions out of the Motion Functions library, whereas the is input is a function out of this MotionControl lib. Okay, I think almost everything, but here is still a warning, a code warning, because I didn't add the end statement here. Okay, warning is gone. So the script is ready and can be downloaded to the motion controller, and that's done using the play button here. And I have to select one of the 8 memory places that this motion controller is offering. So let's start with the first one here, and then this script is downloaded and automatically started. And so I should directly be able to operate the motor here. And so now it's position control, and using the switch 1, it would be the speed control. So that's it here. Fully autonomous demo. When I would remove the USB cable, it would still be able to operate. Of course, there's much more about configuring these discrete IOs, like if you want to connect whatever limit switches to the digital inputs here. But that's for a separate video where I want to show you how to use the homing sequences. And of course, there's much more about scripting. The few minutes here can only be a teaser. But there's a webinar about scripting, and you'll find our webinars on our homepage. So you might check the homepage. Meanwhile, if you got any questions, of course, as always, ask your local FAULHABER sales contact or our MC support team, and check back with our channel and maybe leave a comment here. Bye.